What's up, people? It's Hatman, and this is my keys to victory, final thoughts, and prediction for Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Now, predictions are just guesses. They're just educated guesses. So that's all my prediction is. That's all you should take this video as. Don't get offended if what I say differs with what you think is going to happen in the fight. It's just an educated guess, just like yours is. We won't know the truth until the first bell rings and both guys go at it. In terms of keys to victory, I think the key to victory for both guys is, the main key to victory is pretty similar. I think both guys have to aim to frustrate the other guy and take him out of his comfort zone. Starting off with Floyd Mayweather. We know that Floyd's a taller guy. We know that he's got longer arms, much longer arms, and we know that he's very good at maximizing his reach. That's why it's so difficult to touch Floyd Mayweather in the middle of the ring. It's not just the fact that he's got 26-inch arm length and 72-inch reach. It's because he's able to turn his body sideways, get a nice wide stance, and really get full extension on his punches. He does it better than probably anyone else in boxing at the moment. So Floyd needs to maintain distance between him and Pacquiao, particularly in the early part of the fight, I think, and frustrate Pacquiao, because Pacquiao up close at mid-range is faster with combinations than anyone Floyd's ever been in the ring with. And we know Floyd can be a bit of a slow starter when he's figuring things out. So he can't allow Pacquiao to get too close, whereby he can start letting combinations go. Even if they're not landing all clean, it still looks good to the judges, particularly when Floyd is normally a low volume guy. So he can't allow Pacquiao to get close. Needs to turn Pacquiao, make sure the fight stays in the center of the ring, and eventually try and frustrate Pacquiao and get Pacquiao to lunge in. And if you saw in the Algieri fight, Pacquiao actually was lunging in. When Algieri was moving around, Pacquiao was lunging in with shots, leaving himself off balance. And Algieri did once or twice actually counter Pacquiao with a right hand. So that's what I think Floyd Mayweather needs to do. Just maintain the distance, be patient, get Pacquiao to start lunging in, trying to reach him, and then counter him. That's going to be, to me, the main key to victory for Floyd Mayweather. The rest, we know what Floyd does. Once he has Pacquiao time, once he's got him lunging in and he's hitting him, and Pacquiao starts slowing down a little bit, maybe Floyd will touch him a little bit to the body with a jab. Then when Pacquiao becomes more flat-footed, it might become more of a traditional Mayweather fight where he's just catching a guy with a straight right hand down the pipe and toying with him, basically. All right. So that's the keys to victory for Floyd. The keys to victory for Pacquiao, I think the best strategy for Manny Pacquiao, and this will probably go against what a lot of people think. A lot of people will probably thinking that Pacquiao needs to rush Mayweather. I actually don't think so. I think the opposite. I think Pacquiao's best hope of victory in this fight, again, it's just an opinion, right? It's just a guess. It's just an educated guess. But I think based on their styles, Pacquiao's best bet is to actually try and box on the back foot and give Mayweather lots of lateral movement, side to side, move around outside of range, and actually force Mayweather to come forward, because that's bringing Mayweather out of his comfort zone. Mayweather's not a pressure fighter. I know there are a lot of Mayweather fans out there who literally believe Floyd can walk on water and fly without wings, but he can't. He's not a pressure fighter, and I've always felt this. I've always felt that's why I think a guy like Tommy Hearns would beat Mayweather, because he could do a Vladimir Klitschko on him and say, okay, yeah, you like to counter punch, but when I've got a 78-inch reach and I'm jabbing you from halfway across the ring, your counter right hand is going to be hitting thin air. So you're going to have to take risks to get close to me. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to try cut off the ring, which is something that you're not used to doing. You're going to have to start maybe lunging in or leaping in with punches. You're not used to doing that. And obviously Pacquiao was shorter than Mayweather, got shorter arms, so he's not going to be able to quite do a Vladimir Klitschko type thing. But what Pacquiao does have is very quick feet. So if it was up to me, I would say, you know what, Manny, your strategy needs to be stay out of range, move around, dart in and out of range, force Floyd to come forward. And when you see Floyd trying to go with a lead or looking slightly off balance, or you see an angle that you like, jump in with a combination of punches. Don't worry about, trying to knock Floyd out or having super accuracy. Just jump in with a flurry of punches that looks good to the judges, then get out again before Floyd can land his counter. And Pacquiao was doing something a little bit similar to that, I think, in the Bradley rematch, where he was jumping in with shots and then he would duck low to avoid Bradley's counters. But the way he fought in both Bradley fights, I don't think I suspect that won't be as effective against Mayweather because he was standing in front of Bradley too much. The one thing you don't want to do with Floyd, unless, as I say, you're a Tommy Hearns with a ridiculous reach and you're 6'1", 78-inch reach, the one thing you don't want to do with Floyd is stand in front of him, okay? Because he's going to maximize his reach. He loves guys standing right in front of him. And he's going to have his way over you in the middle of the ring, frustrate you. When you get into the ropes, he's going to do the shoulder roll. I know with a southpaw, people are saying the shoulder roll won't be as effective, but that remains to be seen. We'll see how Floyd deals with that. But I still think Manny should force Floyd to come forward and bring him out of his comfort zone. And I don't think Floyd will be able to cut off the ring effectively with a guy who's moving around and doing this, that, and the other. And I think Manny's strategy should be to actually try and take the fight on points by moving around and just doing something totally unexpected that not only Floyd wouldn't expect and he wouldn't be prepared for, but even the crowd and the judges wouldn't even expect it. And because it looked so shocking to see Floyd struggling to cut off the ring and searching for a guy and not being able to find him, I think Pacquiao may be able to win rounds that way. So those are the keys to victory, I think, for both fighters. Those would be the best strategies. But as far as what I think is likely to happen, first and foremost, let me just break down the scenarios, because this is how I come to my predictions for fights. I look at these scenarios and I think which is the most likely and which is the least likely scenario. Out of all the scenarios, you got Pacquiao by knockout, Mayweather by knockout, a draw, or either man by decision. I think the least likely of all those outcomes is Pacquiao by knockout. And that might sound counterintuitive because Pacquiao has got a higher KO ratio and he's actually been dropping people recently. Even though he ain't been getting stoppages, he did drop Chris Algieri several times. He did drop Marquez in their last fight. He did drop Shane Mosley. So even though he ain't stopped a guy for a long time, he has been hurting guys and dropping them, unlike Floyd. Right? Floyd did drop Ortiz, but that wasn't quite in the course of normal action. The last time he had a knockdown or a knockout in the course of normal action was Ricky Hatton, if I remember rightly. So yeah, Pacquiao still appears to be hurting guys more and dropping guys more, but he's never come across a defense like Floyd Mayweather in his entire career. A guy that's slick and a guy who reads offenses as well and reacts to them defensively as well as Floyd Mayweather. Now you could also say that Floyd has never come across an offense as formidable as Manny Pacquiao, and I think that's true. But more than likely, the two things will, I think, kind of cancel each other out. So as much as Pacquiao does have this formidable offense, I think it will be cancelled out by Mayweather's defense and, vice versa maybe. If that even makes sense. But yeah, I think, Pacquiao would have to land all types of punches on Floyd to be able to get the stoppage. And I just don't see that happening. He might be able to land a shot here and there, but I don't see him being able to put together enough punches to get the stoppage on Mayweather, who we know has never been stopped before. He's never been down officially, although there was an unofficial thing against Zab Judah. He's never been down officially. So I just don't see Manny being able to land consistently enough to get him out of there. The next least likely scenario, in my opinion, would be Floyd to win by knockout. So I make Floyd winning by knockout slightly more likely than Manny winning by knockout. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, Floyd hasn't been getting stoppages, and I don't think him winning by knockout is the most likely outcome at all. But I just think it's more likely than Manny winning by stoppage or knockout. And again, the reason why I say it is because Manny has been down. He was down twice against Marquez. He was knocked out cold against Marquez. And I would hazard a guess that Mayweather's power may be similar to a Marquez. Maybe Marquez hits a bit harder, but I think it's similar. I think it's comparable. The main problem with Floyd is that he has brittle hands and he's low volume. If Floyd didn't have those brittle hands and he let his hands go a lot more, he'd be getting stoppages. He's not no Paulie Malignaggi like some people try and make out. He does have respectable power, but he don't put his punches together very often to actually wear guys down and get stoppages. And when he does hurt guys, like he hurt Guerrero, he pulls back because he hurts his hands. So although, although I do think Floyd's power may be slightly underrated, I think it's unlikely he gets the stoppage. But the fact that Manny has been stopped recently, we know that he can be hurt and knocked down and knocked out. And I think Floyd's power is a little underrated because of those things. I think it's more likely that Floyd wins by stoppage than Manny, but I still don't think it's that likely that Floyd wins by stoppage. Then we move on to the other scenarios where the fight goes the distance. Either a draw or a win on the cards by either man. I think a draw, and again, this is just a guess, I think a draw is less likely than either man winning on the cards, because I think a draw is an anticlimax. And I think politically, they don't want an anticlimax. Politically, they want either a decisive winner or controversy. I don't think an anticlimax would do. So I'd be surprised if it ends up being a draw, but it could be. Obviously, stranger things have happened. So I don't think a draw will happen. I think this fight's going to go to points, most likely. And then you have to look at who has the track record in being able to pull off their game plan and win fights on points decisively. And for me, that has to be Floyd Mayweather. Pacquiao has struggled in fights, obviously, against Marquez. Now, Marquez had 4 fights to get that timing down with Manny Pacquiao. Floyd is going to have to do it in one fight. And like I mentioned earlier on in the video, Floyd can't let Pacquiao get close to him because it's going to be difficult for Floyd to pick shots, to punch in between Manny's punches. It's going to be a lot more difficult for him to do that than it was against Marcos Maidana or Canelo Alvarez or any of them guys. And yes, Marquez was able to do it, but as I just said, Marquez had 4 fights to get that down. And also Marquez having the shorter arms, shorter arms than Floyd, and being a more similar height to Pacquiao, I think it may be easier for Marquez to punch in between Pacquiao's punches than it will be for Floyd, particularly since Floyd ain't been in the ring with Pacquiao before. So Floyd needs to stay away, keep that distance. Don't allow Pacquiao to get too close. Keep the fighter in the center of the ring. And I think he'll know that. I think he'll know what Pacquiao's strengths are. I think he'll know what to do. And that's why I'm taking Floyd Mayweather to win this fight on points. It wouldn't shock me if Pacquiao won it on points. I think politically, there would be a lot of mileage in having a controversial decision either way, whether Pacquiao wins controversially or Mayweather wins controversially. In fact, I think there'd be more mileage if Pacquiao won controversially. So I can see conceivably a controversial decision either way. But as I really do want to pick a decisive, make a decisive pick here, I'm going to take Floyd Mayweather to win the fight on points. That's my take on it. So sorry for rambling a little bit in this video. I normally make my predictions a lot more concise than this, but since it's a big fight that all you guys love, a lot of people are excited for, I thought I'd really try and go in and articulate my thought process in terms of how I'm breaking down this fight and how I see it going and what I think the most likely scenarios are going to be. So I think the most likely scenario is Floyd on points. Drop your predictions in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.